Now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! 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 Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams, and today we kick off our week-long salute to Scrooge by discussing The Man Who Invented Christmas, starring Dan Stevens, Christopher Plummer, Justin Edwards, Jonathan Pryce, Donald Sumpter, and Anna Murphy. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. As I said in the introduction, today kicks off our week-long salute to Scrooge. And before we get into all the different tellings of A Christmas Carol over the course of the week, I thought we'd kick this week off with the biopic of sorts, fictionalized telling of how Charles Dickens came up with the story of A Christmas Carol. Today's movie is called The Man Who Invented Christmas. And our movie opens in the year 1843, 4 years after the success of Oliver Twist. And Charles Dickens is suffering from financial hardship from the failure of his last 3 books. Rejected by his publishers, he sets out to write a brand new book and publish it himself in order to restore his finances. He begins to collect inspiration in and around London, most notably from a rich man's funeral, which is largely unattended, as well as a mean-spirited old man who gives him the catchphrase, "Humbug," both of which become the inspiration for a brand new character. Dickens begins to write A Christmas Carol, which is due in 6 weeks in order for it to be published in time for Christmas, despite his friends and publishers who tell him that the book will also be a failure, as at the time, Christmas was considered only a minor holiday and very few people celebrated it. As Charles develops the story, he begins to interact with the characters as they begin to manifest in front of him, most notably Ebenezer Scrooge. Now, Dickens is assisted by one of his servants, a young lady named Tara, who is an Irish nursemaid to his children, whom he discusses certain story elements with. While writing his book, Charles is greeted by the unannounced arrival of his eccentric father, John Dickens, whom Charles views as immature and financially irresponsible. When Charles shows Tara the next draft, she is distraught that Scrooge would not save Tiny Tim. Tara believes that people can change and instead suggests that Scrooge save Tiny Tim. However, Charles is unable to believe that a man as cruel and cold as Scrooge could ever change. Dickens rejects the notion, but it continues to haunt him in the form of writer's block. Charles's relationship with his family and friends increasingly strains as he struggles with Scrooge's ending and his debts mount until he sends both his parents and Tara out of the house in a fit of rage. The next morning, he regrets dismissing Tara, but he is unable to find and rehire her. Charles's wife, Catherine Dickens, tearfully confronts Charles over his recklessness and instability and admits that she believes that he puts his work before his own family. It is then revealed that much of Charles's animosity towards his father stems from his childhood trauma of laboring in a blacking factory after his family was taken to debtor's prison, all due to John Dickens's failure to pay his debts. Returning to the long-abandoned factory, Charles is forced to confront his own insecurities through Scrooge. Charles realizes that indeed his story should be one of redemption, and he proceeds to race home in order to finish his manuscript. As he is about to leave home to submit it to his printer, he discovers that Tara has come to return a book that he had loaned to her. Charles then apologizes for his angry outburst and invites her back to the household. His wife then suggests that he does the same with his father, who is about to board a train departing for London. He does so, and after reconnecting with his family, submits the manuscript just in time for publishing before Christmas. The Dickens family celebrates the holiday while a text epilogue tells us that the book was published on December 19th, 1843, and had sold every copy by Christmas Eve, as well as reminded us of the lasting impact that the book has had on the Christmas holiday as our movie comes to its end. I will say, fictionalized or not, this was a damn good telling of the story of how A Christmas Carol came to be. It's my second or third time watching this movie, and from the moment that I saw it the first time, I was hooked. Now, little inside note, part of the reason I watched this in the first place was to see Dan Stevens, who plays Charles Dickens in this. The only exposure I had had to Dan Stevens prior to this was The Beast and the live action Beauty and the Beast movie that Disney did a few years back. And throughout the majority of that, he's CG, mocap, because he is the Beast. So being able to see what he looked like underneath all that for a good almost 2-hour film was intriguing to me in of itself. Then you take Christopher Plummer, legendary actor. We lost him a couple years ago. In fact, if you click over here, you'll see the tribute video that I did for him when he passed. But putting him in the role of Scrooge was just awesome. And from things that I've read, Dickens was a bit of an eccentric. So when he would write his books, he did do what we see here and interact with them and kind of get a feel for how they would react in certain situations. So that part of this isn't all that far-fetched to me. What I did kind of enjoy a little bit, it's a little bit of a twist. If you watch as it progresses, Dickens himself becomes a little Scrooge-esque in the way that he treats his family, in the way that he dismisses Tara, because he's so focused on his book and trying to be a success, which, depending on which versions of A Christmas Carol you watch, there are some versions that focus more into those young adult years, if you will, early 20s of Scrooge's rise and his ascension to his stature. And you see how his family life, his personal life started to fall apart as he got more successful. And as Dickens is trying to put his everything into this project so he can reclaim some of these finances that he's lost because of the last few books not succeeding, it's kind of turning into that character. And it's not until he revisits his past, much as Scrooge has to face his past, that Dickens realizes that Scrooge can change because he changed. So it's really cool how they put this whole spin on it. It's very, very different. And then as the movie's ending, he even meets a man named Copperfield, planting the seeds for future stories, because Charles Dickens wrote the story David Copperfield. So you see a little bit of insight as to what's to come after establishing A Christmas Carol. and all of the awesomeness that is that story. This is a well told, just beautiful machine of a movie here because it hits every beat that you want it to. There is no, can this get going, please? It's consistent, steady paced, well told. When it comes to my rating for The Man Who Invented Christmas, it gets 4.5 out of 5 stars for me. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I enjoyed it so much when I watched it the first time because the first time I watched it, I red boxed it. Went to the machine, paid my $1.50, whatever it was, watched it, returned it. As soon as I saw it for sale in the machine, bought it. I think I paid less than $5. That's how impressed I was with this movie from the jump. It's 4.5 out of 5 stars for me when it comes to The Man Who Invented Christmas. What do you guys think? Those of you that have seen The Man Who Invented Christmas. Let me know. If you're watching the premiere, leave your thoughts and comments over here. And if you're watching on demand later in the day, leave your thoughts and comments down here. Let's have that conversation, that discussion, that debate, that interaction that I'm always asking you guys for in the comments below. And make sure you guys tune in tomorrow, right here to the Casa D18 Studios channel for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews as we kick off the first of our official tellings of the Ebenezer Scrooge, A Christmas Carol stories. And we start with 1935's Scrooge, starring Sir Seymour Hicks, Donald Calthorpe, Mary Glynn, Robert Cochran, Oscar Ashe, C.V. France, Marie Ney, Philip Frost, and Claude Rains. You're not going to want to miss out on that. Right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel on all new episodes of Renegades Reviews. And as I've been saying these last couple days, we're not even halfway through the month yet. We've still got so much more in store for you here on the channel. So make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure that notification bell is turned on so you don't miss out anytime a video drops right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel or anytime a video goes live, as we do with Open Mic Night, Statboy Sports Bar, pay-per-view PLE coverage, etc. Share these videos with your family, friends, loved ones, co-workers, movie fanatics, cinephiles in your life, fans of Charles Dickens, fans of the A Christmas Carol story, fans of Dan Stevens or Christopher Plummer, anybody you can think of that would enjoy this video and my content, share it with them. Only way we're going to boost up my visibility in YouTube's algorithms so I can eventually get monetized, make some money on this channel. Thank you once again to everyone who joined me today and tuned in. It means more to me than you'll ever know. And I will see you guys next time.